It's a good
Um,
time.
I stepped on you there for a second. I'm sorry. I'm like, I have so many questions like running through my head. And I was gonna say, you touched on how you've evolved. Like, let's talk about that because I mean, I think a lot of people have had to make some hard changes in the last couple of years,
Right.
whether they were inspired and motivated to make the changes or they were just forced to make the changes. And I think that
hmm
a lot of people, especially in the creative world, had to make changes, so let's talk about
Yes.
that a little bit because that's kind
Oh,
of pushed you into evolving,
oh
whether
yeah.
you were ready or not,
Yeah.
right?
It's very true. Yeah, like getting out of my comfort zone,
Right.
big time, more than I ever had. It's like led to like mental breakdowns and breakthroughs and
Yeah.
new practices and new work, new opportunities. So, as a DJ, I've hidden behind the turntables and the music, so to speak, in terms of like engaging with the crowd outside of the music that I play. So
Right.
like any kind of microphone interaction or really any kind of really that essentially, because I mean, how does a DJ interact with the crowd outside the microphone and performance? But I, well, first of all, when the pandemic hit, all my work went away. So I
Yeah.
completely stopped what I was doing.
Hmm.
Like 10 shows, just a crazy amount of shows, like just canceled. So I just decided to jump on and DJ online because a lot of other guys were doing it. And I thought it was cool and wanted to try it. And I'm like, oh, I think I can set this up pretty easy. So I did it on Facebook and everybody loved it so much that I was like, oh, I got to do this again. So each time I did it, I got more and more anxious because I wanted to like outdo what I had been doing. And I felt like all these eyes were on me and I had to like come up with some glorious new performance or something just to
Right.
like, because I came from this like background of being a battle DJ where DJs were watching me spin. So it's a lot of my audience is DJs.
It's competitive. It's competitive. Yeah.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. And there's a lot of camaraderie because I'd go to these DJ conventions and I was working for a remix company. And so I was putting out, content all the time. So there's a good network of guys and friends and then fans just through being a DJ. So
Yeah.
anyhow, so I'd built this expectation up in my mind that I'd do something grandiose and I knew that I wanted to engage on the microphone.
Hmm.
It's something that I had wanted to do. So that was the moment when it was like, okay, do or die, literally, because my work was gone. I needed to innovate and push myself. So
Yeah.
I did that, and that led to a lot of again breakthroughs and opportunities. So
Yeah.
um yeah, I can talk about all that, but it's
Yeah,
great.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
honestly, like I even think like I mean, one, you brighten people's days. If you just bring it down to like the basic level, like a lot of your friends, people you grew up with, especially
Yeah.
during some of the harder times when people were, stuck in,
hmm
at home, and even people are kind of still stuck at home now. There's a lot of
Right.
restrictions, other places where there aren't restrictions, and you
Right.
brightened everybody's day when you would go live and DJ and put music
Oh,
out
that's
there,
cool. Yeah.
yeah, and then also too, I remember seeing you DJing for people for their virtual parties,
Yeah. Oh,
right?
yeah.
Because you couldn't have like a
Yep.
party in person and
Right.
and people didn't feel comfortable. So that you were doing, so I feel like that's pretty forward thinking, when you're pushed into a corner, like do or die or sink or swim, and you have to be creative in your creative element, and figure things out.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I
It's
think
like what
that's
you're doing with
the
this.
inspire thing. Yeah. Yeah. With
Yeah.
podcasting. Yeah. You evolve, right? You have
Starting
to
something
evolve
new. Yeah. Yep.
and not letting fear control you, whatever your fear is, and pushing forward. And even if fear's still there, you just keep pushing it away, pushing it away, pushing it away, anxiety, fear, whatever it is. And you keep
Yeah.
moving forward. It just makes it harder. It just makes it makes it harder to do the things that you want to do.
If you're not pushing through it or working with it or
Yeah.
challenging yourself or, all those things, like
Yeah.
I got kind of burnt out of it. Just like pushing myself so hard all the time in a constant challenge. Like
Yeah.
I've taken kind of a little bit of a break from it, which has been nice. And I've had so much opportunity and work. That's been my main focus. And
Yeah.
honestly, I haven't been as diligent about taking care of myself and working out and
Yeah.
getting up as early as I was because I it's the holidays and
Yeah.
then
Oh my
jumping
God.
right in all this work. But anyhow,
No, that's good. No, I was that because I think it's important too, because as you evolve and you re-evolve, you remake yourself and continue to re-evolve, and you also have to like take care of yourself. And that's something that you and I have also
oh
connected
yeah,
on in the last podcast, trying to make sure that you find like a good support system, especially when you're in the creative environment, because sometimes
yeah.
you just feel like you're out there in space and time,
I
and
feel that way still. Like,
do
yeah,
you?
like isolated. Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, that's just me though. Like, but a lot of creatives are live in that kind of isolated world where they're just focused
Introverted.
on, yeah, introvert. There's that, and they're just so hyper focused on what they're doing that's their lane. And
Right.
depending on how they grew up, like for me, I my creativity was escape from reality in
Right.
terms of engaging with my environment. It's like
Right.
I could engage with this sound or this screen.
Well,
So it's
that's
like very,
interesting.
very, yeah, very different. It's also, of course, an outlet to express myself. I mean, I really don't think of it that way. I don't know. It sounds kind of like cliche in my mind, but
No.
it's what I enjoy doing, and for some reason, it's what draws my attention, which I think
Yeah.
it's hard to like control your attention.
Yeah. Well, I
There's a lot
think
that
that
grabs it.
Well, I
Yep,
think that what you're doing and kind of what I'm hearing is that it's almost like an extension of who you are, and you are actually
for sure.
engaging
Yeah,
with the people around you, whether you realize it or not. You're touching people's lives by, brightening their day if they listen to like a song that you brought up that they forgot about, or you are helping someone have a party virtually, or you're helping someone create a brand, or motivate employees. So you're
right. No
engaging
doubt.
with people in your way. And I think that that's also very inspiring, because there's
For
people out
sure.
there that are in that same realm. Like they have a
Hmm.
hard time interacting with other people. I can interact with other people. I just am usually really awkward. So awkward.
I I've felt that way my whole
Oh
life.
my
God.
God.
Yeah.
It's
I
so
mean,
embarrassing sometimes where I'm like, oh my goodness. But I also think it's really important to find some like a supportive people, whether it's like a
oh yeah.
spouse,
Hmm.
family, friends, because it is really easy to be isolated in the creative world, whether you're an artist in the music,
Yeah.
yeah. Don't you
Yep.
think?
No doubt.
Yeah. And
And
it's
I have to make time to like intentionally connect with people, and
do
like
you?
I do for sure. And I haven't been doing that lately because I don't know if it's the anxiety or the actual like work itself
Yeah.
and the deadlines,
Yeah.
and then like the family around me, like my
Yeah.
environment that's like taking up 75% of my attention.
Right, right. Oh yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like so I miss like just being around more people. I talk to a lot of people about this, and I've gone through this kind of like cycle in my life before, but right now I have so much work, and I have like 8 projects, videos I'm working on, and they're just coming constantly. So which is amazing.
Yeah, it
I'm
is
just I'm
amazing.
super super focused on the creative process. So it's
Right.
good that you wanted to talk about this because that's what I've been doing lately.
So what do you do then? Like if you find yourself in this like cycle and you're just like super
Oh,
hyper focused on like your creative mode, you accept invitations to go on podcasts with old friends
yeah,
to
well, of
connect,
course, like
to connect and talk about stuff.
of course.
It is hard though. It's a balance. I think everything in life is a balance. And sometimes you just have to go through these phases where you're just sometimes
Right.
some things just kind of go off to the side. And the people that really care about you and love you and they know and they just kind of give you your space. And
Right.
then when you're ready to come back around, you circle back around.
And with guys, like it's way different. Like they don't reach out to each other
No?
like my wife and I have talked about this for a long time because she's got a very big network of girlfriends that are local, and
Yeah.
that so they're connecting all the time
Yeah.
and talking all the time. And with my friends, it's like I've one close friend that lives in Baltimore, another DJ. We've known
Yeah.
each other for like 12, 15 years. And we connect probably more often than any other person I talk to.
Really?
And then I have my like childhood friends. I
Yeah.
got, well, my agent, I talk to him all the time. So we're I'm really close with him. Shout out to my friend Matt Kendall. And then DJ Kopek's my other buddy. But all the guys I grew up with, yeah, we talk, connect, but it's not like super duper on the regular. So it's just me and my kids. And a lot of guys say this. It's just a guy thing, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's why I got to be intentional about doing it when my time's slower. So it's like I slow down. It's like, what do I do with myself?
I know, right?
But I've been more consistent since COVID, like more than ever in my life, because I have this like different options of like doing things for virtual shows and doing in-person shows and my mashups. And
Yeah.
so I stay busy enough that I've been able to ride like a good wave through a lot of it. So I'm
You're
very
lucky.
fortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because in the beginning it was like hell.
Right.
2020 was hell. Last year was great.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think there's a lot of people that have risen, in, like a tough time. And then there's been some people that have remained affected in a negative way and still struggling to, get themselves out of it. So
Sure.
you have to celebrate that,
Yeah.
you've come out of it in in a positive way. And then also you're traveling. So things are like obviously opening up. I mean, there's some places that are
Right.
more open than other places. So it sounds like you're traveling. I know you made a trip down to Florida.
Yeah.
Right? You made a trip to Florida and you're getting ready
I
to
did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got down there. I went to
wide
Vegas.
Open. We're
What's
wide
that?
open. I said Florida's wide open.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Georgia's the same way.
Is it? Yeah.
Pretty much. But I went to Vegas after that. I'm going to Vegas in like 2 weeks.
Sweet.
And then get a show there for like a data company. And then I go to Boston for medical company, like a biotech company. And then
what are you doing for that? Like, what do you do? Like you provide.
I have the most random clients anymore. It's like, as a DJ, it's really strange because what I do is just so, I don't know, I feel different in the sense where I'm at the same time, I'm not at all. Like, it's because DJs are all, the same in the sense of our love for music, and that's our focus, and we're DJing.
Right.
But it's just who I'm DJing for, and the event, and the mashups I make, and all this stuff. It's just because it's all these companies, so it's like I'm out in this other little pocket of like nowhere.
People. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyhow,
it's cool though. I mean, it also, I think, gives other creative people in your realm and like in the music industry to know that like there's not just a linear path. If you have a love for music, there's not just a linear path. Just like True. I realized, after like being put on ice and then being let go in radio, I kind of had like this identity crisis, and then I realized that there's not just one path to being creative in media. And then I found voiceover found me again. It's been tapping on my shoulder for years.
That's cool.
Since I was like probably 15 years old as well. And I never addressed the situation until until now, and it all kind of all the pieces fell into place. But
so where are you at with it now?
Well, I'm about to cut my official demo. So I'm about to cut my official demo, and I'm out there networking, and I'm excited to go on pay to play sites and, and get out there and get my feet wet. I'm going to jump in head first.
That's cool. Yay. Wow.
It's fun, but it is like being a creative and being in media or music or, a DJ, whatever role you are in being a creative, you're putting yourself out there. You are the product, too, and
for sure.
And the things that you're doing and saying is an extension.
I try not to be. It's tough. Like for me, it's like all.
Don't you think though?
All my validation would come from, the reaction of my audience or whoever it is. And when it's a high paying client, it's like, my feelings could get hurt really easily or, with certain like, I got to change this video. And it's like, I don't know.
I'm happy with it or something. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I just became aware that it was important to focus on the process.
Yeah.
and it's still hard to not,
take it personal.
Attached to attached to it. Cause it's like art in a sense.
An extension of you. It is.
That way. It is
like an extension of you.
Yeah. So I try to let it go immediately. It's like, but still as stuff comes back to me and, I'll have to revise things, but anyhow,
No,
it's
I mean, no, that's important that you said that because that's
mhm.
interesting. Because in my voiceover training, they always say submit it and forget it. Just submit it and forget it. Because honestly, it doesn't really
Yeah,
matter
that
what
makes
you
sense.
think. It doesn't really matter what you think. It's what your client thinks. And if your client likes it and it speaks to them, then that's cool. Like, because there's a lot of times you can get in and be super judgmental of what you're doing and be like, oh, it's not good enough. And then like,
Yeah.
but it's good enough for the other person on the other side. And then also on the flip side, when you do something and someone comes back with a correction, like not to
Yeah.
take it personal because it's just what sounds good to their ear versus your ear. But I could see
Right.
that, but it gets hard to separate
Yeah,
yourself
it's
emotionally because it's an extension of who
oh
you
yeah.
are, and I'm starting to learn that I've always taken things personal and I'm evolving. I've always been sensitive. I've always taken things personal. I mean, anybody who
Right.
asks me, and you've known me
Hmm.
for decades,
Yep.
and I mean, you knew me back in the OG days. Like I mean, I was, yeah, anyway. So I take everything personal. And now I'm starting to get a thicker skin. I'm realizing that, if I audition for something, if my voice isn't what was in the voice in their head that they were thinking it was for the script, then they're moving on. It's not
Right,
me,
right.
it's them, it's what
Yeah.
I wasn't what they were looking for. And then in the flip side, if they hear my voice and they like what I did, then I was the voice in their head that they wanted, and it's saturated out there, So
Yeah.
for you to
I
carve your
know.
niche out, and
Here,
rise
this is
to the top is
I'm
the
yeah.
situation. Yeah, go ahead.
Go. I'm gonna like probably
Uh-oh.
talk it down in a negative way, but no, not really. What's really difficult is trying to switch lanes and do something else, like the speaking part. I
Oh yeah.
God, it's torture.
So you've actually gone out and done live announcer stuff. So
Well,
and that falls in the
yeah,
voiceover world. You know that, right? Like
yeah,
that's
for sure. Like I hosted like a global awards event for PepsiCo, and
sweet.
I I did it all through recording
Okay.
myself over here in my studio. So like basically like a virtual live stream type thing, but essentially it's like me and a couple cameras and me DJing live, but I'm also on the mic and talking. So I'll set up a teleprompter in front of me. But it's like I'm so critical and so
Let it
such a
go.
perfectionist. I
Gotta
was
let
up to
go.
like I know. It's like I
Call me.
can't.
I'll
It's
help
it's
you.
because I have the opportunity to not let it go. It's like when you can
Yeah.
just keep creating until you think you get it right. So it's like,
Yeah.
and they're paying for it. It's like a paying client. I'm recording. So it's like I could do this as many times as I need to, which was like 150 times. So I
Oh
had like
no.
160 takes or something.
Nice.
But it got me into this flow of like speaking
Yeah.
and then I'm paying attention to like my face while I'm talking, like,
Right.
whatever. Just your awareness starts to grow and change.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I
Yep.
like to blink a lot when I'm doing Zooms. I notice when
Mm.
I'm editing my YouTube stuff clips, and it's like I'm saying like blink, 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 and then I can't stop when my husband watches news. I like watch all the newscasters, and then
Yeah.
and they're like, I'm like their faces aren't moving, and then they're just like,
Yeah.
it's like once you start to notice something, and
Right.
it's the same with voiceover too. Like if there's a word I can't pronounce, I can't say astronomer, I can't say astronomer, and then
Astronomer.
astronomer, I can't say it, and then it's like then all of a sudden it's like in everything, you know what I'm saying, and then it doesn't go away.
Right.
Or you get stuck and you take a weird pause in between two words that there shouldn't be a pause, there's no comma, it's not like a natural
Oh
break,
yeah. How
and
you
then
just start judging everything based
yeah,
on
and
the
then you can't
production.
stop. Yeah, you're like,
Yeah.
"Hi, how's
Oh,
everybody
can't
doing?"
help it. Yeah.
And then you do it like 52 3 times. But I mean,
It's like you gotta ignore it. You gotta
yes, you have to ignore it.
it's that like,
Separate from the
yeah,
negativity.
it's that just awareness. I always
There's
find
Go ahead.
that for me, when I catch myself like talking or thinking a
Mhm.
way that like I I guess you would say I don't want to. I don't know.
Like
It's
negative.
like, yeah, negative, of course. Like I
Mhm.
guess anything negative is like you don't want that.
Right, right, right.
But if I catch myself like thinking it or mostly thinking it, because usually negative stuff usually doesn't come out of my mouth too often. Unless it's about me.
Right.
Like I'm in pain or I'm hungry or
Right.
like
Right.
I gotta pee and it's like it hurts really bad.
Yeah. I know.
Whatever.
Right.
Like that kind of stuff. But I generally don't talk too negative about people or anything. I've always been that way.
You've always been
Anyhow,
nice and bright.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes, because I'm a people pleaser and I want everybody to like me. And it's like
Oh my
it's
gosh.
a terrible habit. So
Me
anyhow,
too. Hi, my name is Jozlyn and I'm a people pleaser.
it's
We should go into 21 day people pleaser. Like
yep.
help self-help.
People pleaser detox, like learning
Self
how to say no and set boundaries.
oh, if
Yeah.
I say no, then I'm like, well, no, but maybe we could no, but maybe we could try no, and I like
uh
always end up backpedaling about something, but you know,
yep. That's
I
what I have a joke with Laura where she like, you can say anything to me, just don't say no. Like she's the hardest to say no to.
yes, I'm sure. My husband's on the no bus all the time. I'm like, how about we do this? No. How about we do this? No. And I'm like, well, no means yes. And I'm just gonna keep on going forward. So that's the other thing I want to talk to you about is like having people that are supportive and healthy around you, or, taking steps to be healthy too, because it's really easy, like you said, to be isolated and allow like the negative self-talk and, allow whether you're self-sabotaging yourself, because I think too, like creatives are hypercritical, across the board,
Hmm. Oh yeah.
and it's like I love that one reel where they're like, I want to be chill. I want to be chill, but it's just not in me or something. It was like a
I
really
didn't
funny
s-
thing. You haven't seen
really.
that one? Oh my God, it's hilarious. And then people say all these different comments about what they're not chill about, like, and that's how I feel, it's like, especially when
Really?
self-critical mode, you're like, I want to be chill, but sometimes you get stuck in it. So I've been trying, and after talking to you and reconnecting and stuff like that, I'm trying to take the steps
Hmm.
that I need to take for me personally, for my journey, to
Hmm.
help me be healthy in mind and body and spirit, and the last time we talked, I've moved forward on breath work. I've had, 14
Nice.
sessions of breath work with a person that I really enjoy. I think that's the half the
How's
battle.
that gone?
It's been awesome. I think finding the right person for you, whether it's a therapist